When we think of deadly and dangerous animals, we usually think of heavyweights. Things like sharks, lions, or polar bears, the ones with sharp claws and long fangs. Well, they are without a doubt. But the truth is, it's insects that can be the real nightmare fuel. And if that sounds hard to believe, this video's about to prove it. These are 15 deadly insects you don't want to mess with. Number 15. Devil's Coach Horse Beetle. In a lot of ways, the Devil's Coach Horse Beetle is just full of contradictions. It's got a big body but rarely flies despite having wings. It doesn't have a stinger, but its bite is nasty thanks to strong, pincer-like jaws. And when threatened, it goes full horror movie, lifting its back end like a scorpion, opening those jaws, and letting out a foul-smelling secretion to drive you away. That awful odor is its signature move. It's fast, it's aggressive, and it hunts along the ground at night under leaves, stones, or low grass. It feeds on worms, slugs, and anything smaller that can't escape its jaws in time. It's like the angry bouncer of the underbrush. You're not going to die if you mess with one, but it's definitely not the kind of bug you want crawling over your hand. It rarely flies and prefers to stalk quietly on the ground, waiting to ruin some poor slug's night. Number 14. Black Widow Spider. There are plenty of ways this list could have started, but this one made the most sense. The Black Widow spider is seriously dangerous and rightfully feared. But there's a twist about this one you should keep in mind. Thanks to all the stories surrounding it, most people think it's among the deadliest spiders alive, and that it must be avoided at all costs. But that's not entirely true. Actually, there are a few details that make it less terrifying. First, only the females pose a real danger to humans. Small relief, but a real one. Second, if you do get bitten and injected with venom, the odds of dying are very slim. It's rarely fatal. But make no mistake, getting bitten is agony. You could end up dealing with severe muscle cramps, diarrhea, spasms, and gut pain for days or even weeks. One brave scientist tested the venom on himself and gave up halfway. Number 13. Kissing bug. This is one insect you definitely don't want affection from. The kissing bug might sound cute, but one bite from it can mess you up for good. It's infamous for being a perfect carrier of Chagas disease, and that's something you do not want in your system. At first, it might seem like nothing more than a few aches or random discomfort, but it gets worse over time. Years down the line, it can cause serious damage to your heart, leading to heart disease or even heart failure. And all of that from one quiet nighttime bite. That's why people are constantly working to control the spread of kissing bug infestations, especially in parts of Latin America and the southern U.S. One tiny bug can have a huge ripple effect across entire communities. They're stealthy, deadly, and totally not worth underestimating. Stay away, and if you ever see one, don't get close. It's a kiss you'll regret. Number 12. Blister Beetle. Isn't it lovely when a creature is kind enough to be named after the exact thing it'll do to you? The blister beetle doesn't sugarcoat it. Touch it, and it'll leave your skin covered in blisters thanks to a chemical it sprays when provoked. That chemical, cantharidin, causes intense skin irritation on contact. What's even more surprising is how aggressive these beetles can be, even as larvae. Some chase down bees and steal food or go for grasshopper eggs. They're fearless from the start. While they're not considered deadly to humans, some species contain enough toxins to kill a horse, not by attacking it directly, but by ending up in the animal's feed. When ingested, it can be lethal. They also carry bright body patterns that act as a clear warning. Come closer, and you'll regret it. At least they're polite enough to give a heads up before wrecking your day. Just stay out of range, and you'll be fine. All right, guys. Now let's talk about something creepy. Number 11. Tarantula hawk wasp. The tarantula hawk does have a sting, but it's not the greatest threat to humans. It's incredibly painful, no question, but it doesn't last long. The real horror, though, is what it does to other creatures. That stinger isn't just for defense, it's a biological weapon for parasitic warfare. The wasp uses it to paralyze its prey, then lays eggs inside the still-living victim. Once the larvae hatch, they slowly devour the host from the inside out, feeding on its organs one by one while it's still alive. When the wasp is fully grown and ready to fly, it tears out of the body like a scene from Alien. It's not an exaggeration to say that it gives its prey a fate worse than death. For humans, the sting is brutal, but survivable. For its targets, there's no escape. Once marked, they're nothing more than living incubators. It's one of nature's most savage and disturbing strategies. Number 10. Stag Beetle. The stag beetle might not be the most famous entry on this list, but it still deserves a spot. No, it's not deadly to humans, but it's got a wild design and attitude. Its huge mandibles look like deer antlers, and they aren't just for show. Male stag beetles use them in actual wrestling matches, fighting other males, flipping rivals, and trying to win dominance. And yes, they can bite. It won't kill you, but it'll hurt if you're careless enough to put your hand near their mouth. Evolution made this beetle ready for battle. It's not weak, pointless, or forgettable. It's a strong example of how beetles have adapted to survive and compete. They usually stick around rotting logs or wooded areas and don't mess with humans unless provoked. But if you're holding one and forget how strong those jaws are, don't be surprised when it clamps down. It's not life-threatening, but you won't enjoy the moment either. So be sure to stay away from this bad boy. Number 9. Yellow jacket. Yellow jackets are one of the most recognizable and irritating stingers out there. Whether you call them wasps or use the full name, most people know to keep their distance. Their sting is painful, no getting around that, and it can last for hours. The worst part? Only the females sting, so if you're unlucky, that's who you'll be dealing with. You're not going to know the difference by looking, but trust that they're out there. Much like other insects on this list, yellow jackets do have a purpose. They prey on other bugs, helping keep the ecosystem in check. Still, that doesn't make it any easier when one decides to chase you down. If you've ever been stung, you already know what kind of pain we're talking about. And if you haven't, consider yourself lucky. They're aggressive, defensive, and don't always need a reason to come after you. The best advice from us is very simple. Don't bother them, and they probably won't bother you. Number 8. Fire ant. If the bullet ant made you nervous, don't get too comfortable, because fire ants are just as aggressive in their own way. You've probably seen them before. They're small, red, and travel in swarms. But don't let the size fool you. There are over 200 species of fire ants, and their bites are brutal. One sting can make your skin burn like it's on fire. Now multiply that by a dozen. The bites swell, itch like hell, and leave behind painful red welts. But it doesn't stop there. Some people react so severely to their venom that it leads to lasting issues. In extreme cases, one future bite could trigger an emergency reaction. So, even if you've handled one sting before, the next one could land you in the hospital. It's not worth the risk. If you see a mound of dirt crawling with tiny red insects, steer clear. Fire ants are territorial, and they don't share space kindly. Number 7. Botfly. If the entries so far haven't made your skin crawl, this one probably will. The botfly is one of the most revolting insects you'll ever hear about. Depending on how much you already know, just the name might make you squirm. Botflies are basically parasites, and what makes them disturbing is how they reproduce. The adult lays its eggs in or on a living host, yes, including humans. Then, once the eggs hatch, the larvae burrow beneath the skin and begin to feed. They remain there, using your tissue like a living shelter, until they're ready to pop out. While this isn't usually fatal or life-threatening, it's traumatic. In one case, a botfly larva was found lodged near a boy's eye. That's the kind of thing you don't forget. You're not going to die from a botfly infestation, but the mental image alone is hard to shake. If one finds you, it's already too late. Number 6. Robberfly. This is one of those insects that doesn't look all that threatening until it moves. Robber flies aren't your average flies. They're built for stealth, aggression, and aerial takedowns. They specialize in ambush attacks, often catching prey mid-flight with stunning precision. Once they grab their target, they stab it with a sharp proboscis and inject enzymes that liquefy the insides. From there, they simply suck the life out of whatever they catch. That's not an exaggeration. They dissolve and drink their prey from the inside. Insects like bees, wasps, and grasshoppers don't stand a chance, and while they don't typically target humans, their bite can still leave a mark if you provoke one. They're fast, strong, and efficient, built more like flying assassins than anything else. If anything, be grateful these things don't come in swarms. They don't chase you, but they'll end anything they catch in a split second. In the bug world, robberflies don't play around. Number 5. Brown recluse spider. By now, it's pretty obvious that spiders aren't just creepy. They're also dangerous, and the brown recluse is near the top of that list. To be fair, not every bite from one that injects venom, but when it does, you're going to know immediately. Its venom is necrotic, which means it literally destroys the tissue around the bite. The result? Huge open wounds that can take a long time to heal, and might leave a permanent scar. Some cases require weeks or even months of treatment, and if the venom spreads too far, it can lead to serious complications. And while death isn't common, it's still possible depending on how your body reacts. It's not just about the bite, it's about what comes next. You could have lesions, swelling, fever, or worse. The spider itself isn't aggressive, but if you accidentally trap one, it won't hesitate to defend itself. Number 4. Assassin bug. Despite the name, this bug won't kill you, but it isn't harmless either. It shares traits with the kissing bug, including its method of feeding. That means Chagas disease is very much a possibility when it bites, and that's just one of the illnesses it can spread. Because of its blood-sucking behavior, it's a dangerous little insect, even if it doesn't look the part. It creeps in quietly, feeds while you sleep, and vanishes before you know what hit you. And if you live in areas where these bugs are common, it becomes more than just an isolated risk. It becomes a community-wide issue. No, they're not everywhere, and no, they don't attack constantly, but their presence is serious. Whether it's Central or South America, or creeping up in the southern United States, they've got reach. You may never see one up close, but if you do, it's best to avoid it. Number 3. Sand flies. Like their name suggests, sand flies are most common in dry, sandy regions, and when they strike, they don't come alone. If one bites, chances are a whole swarm is nearby, leaving you covered in irritated welts. Worse, the pain doesn't stop there. It intensifies over the next week unless treated quickly. At just 2 millimeters long, these insects might be tiny, but they carry real weight. They look like miniature moths, with jerky, erratic flight patterns and V-shaped wings. Only the females bite, needing blood to develop eggs, and they'll feed on anything from humans and dogs to livestock. Their bites are painful, itchy, and cause serious inflammation. And it's not just the bite. Certain species can transmit parasitic diseases like leishmaniasis, which attacks skin and internal organs. They're most active from dusk till dawn and hide during the day in dark, humid places. Because of their size, they even slip through basic mosquito nets. Number 2. Tiger beetle. Now, we've got a bug that won't hurt humans, but it's still deadly in its own way. The tiger beetle may sound mild, but don't be fooled. It's a fierce predator in the insect world. With oversized mandibles and long, spindly legs, it's designed for speed and attack. Some species are so fast they outrun their own vision and have to stop to regain focus mid-chase. Their preferred hunting method? Digging vertical shafts in the dirt and waiting in ambush. When an unsuspecting insect wanders by, they lunge out, grab it, and drag it down. It's a rough way to go, but for the tiger beetle, it's just lunch. These beetles aren't apex predators, but in their own environment, they rule. You don't have to worry about them coming for you. but if you're an ant or anything smaller, they're a nightmare. Number 1. Asian giant hornet. In 2020, everything was already going off the rails. Then suddenly, news stories popped up about murder hornets, and the panic kicked in. The real name is the Asian giant hornet, and while some of the fear was exaggerated, it's still a real threat. Yes, it can kill you. No, it's not from a single sting. The danger comes from swarms. One sting won't do much, but when you get hit by dozens of them, the venom overload can be fatal, even if you're not allergic. The venom isn't the most potent in the wasp world, but each sting pumps a high amount into your system, and its stinger is massive. Fatalities have happened, including one case where a woman in a wheelchair was stung to death. Thankfully, as of 2025, these hornets were wiped out in the US and mostly remain in southern and eastern Asia. If you're outside those areas, you're safe. Otherwise, don't get too close. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.